solo stuff. He's been clean and sober for 30 years.
Hey.
That's an accomplishment, right? Think about that. Not easy at all. When you finally decide in your mid-40s, hey, maybe I should get my stuff together.
Lay off a little.
Yeah, well, you're on a different timeline when you're a rock star. Different timeline. You know, we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. Keith Richards just gave up coke like 10 years ago.
That dude's like 200 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, he's genetically predisposed. Him and Ozzy. But you don't know that until they take some of your blood and they go, oh, man, well, look at this. But Joe Walsh, you know, for a long time they called him the clown prince of rock and roll because he was always tongue firmly in cheek when he'd write songs, and Ordinary Average Guy and Life's Been Good. Just great songs. 76 years old. Of course, today is President Biden's birthday, too. Nobody over there wants to talk about that.
Also 200 years old.
Well, he's 81, and they cannot wait until this day's over and people stop talking about it. So, you know. But, 81 years old, and, that's old. That is old.
Old.
That is old. But, again, it's case by case, you know. I mean, I've known people... grandparents of friends. You know, I cast my mind back to when my own grandmother was 81. I mean, she was my grandma. So you go, yeah, 81's old. But I mean, you know,
she lived for another 23 years or whatever.
She outlived 2 husbands. Yeah. She lived by herself until she was 101. So it's case by case. And don't forget, Trump is only 3 years younger than Biden. He's also a fascist, but it's such a hard decision. And what am I going to do? Biden's so... Did you see Bill Burr talking about the whole thing with his wife, by the way?
I did not see
on Rich Eisen's show.
But don't come back and start crying. It's like those Trump guys. They're always going like, you snowflakes, F your feelings and all of that. And then you make fun of Trump. They're like, oh, my God, it's so disrespectful. It's like you're saying F Joe Biden. It's like you can't have it both ways. It's just like if you're doing it too, quit your crying.
What's your question, Poundcake?
I said, would you rather have a fake tan or fake teeth? No president.
Geez.
I'm going to say, which would you rather have? Which is more fake?
Yeah, probably fake teeth.
I mean, I have a few fake teeth in my mouth. So
but you don't have like a full set of dentures.
Veneers.
Yeah, they can't like fall out while you're giving a speech.
Biden is 80. His teeth have to be like maybe 25 or maybe like 10 years old.
Well, and he got the hair plugs back in the day too. So, you know, I guess you go with what's working for you. Why not?
Well, anyone can
Listen, go back and watch you ever heard of the Nixon-Kennedy debates? Holy God. I mean, that was when the era of television, you know, tomorrow Rob Reiner is going to be on the show because tomorrow is the 60th anniversary of the JFK assassination. And he and Soledad O'Brien have an iHeartRadio podcast.
Making an announcement like, and it was me as a boy.
No, people still dig into that. But, you know, famously, a lot of people said that in those Kennedy-Nixon debates, Nixon, because he was all sweaty and looked weird on television, and Kennedy was this good-looking dude. So ever since, I mean, everyone, you have to pay attention to what you look like on television.
Wasn't that the whole thing
on
that
camera?
The first debates were on radio, and people were like, Nixon wiped the floor with them, and then they did the television interviews, and they're like, Nixon was out of his element. Kennedy crushed him, because you could actually see what was happening.
I would rather have the fake teeth because anyone can have a spray tan. Anyone can get a tan. Having fake teeth is a sign of wealth. Like, you can't just have veneers.
Not always.
Yes,
They sell dentures at Drug Mart.
But they also they have very reasonable payment plans at a lot of these oral surgeons.
Veneers, I don't think there's a
No, you didn't say veneers.
You said fake teeth.
Veneers are different than fake
Biden
teeth.
has veneers.
Veneers are
a lot of people have veneers. You know, they asked Chris Rock, what's the first thing you do when you got some money? He goes, I got all new teeth. Now, that's he dumps him. Go back and look at Chris Rock's old grill.
I was going to say, unless you go to Mexico, you can't really get any fake, or you can't really get some cheap veneers. So I'd rather do that.
Have you been to Mexico? You've been to Mexico. You've been on Isla Mujeres.
Yeah.
See a lot of fake teeth there?
No, I know people that have gone across.
There are plenty of people with veneers who did not go into debt getting them.
Well,
but they are like $1,500 a piece.
They're not cheap, but, you know, they're getting more affordable every day.
$1,000 a tooth? Like, come on now. That's expensive.
Well, see, the funny thing is, but here's the thing. We all answer the question, what would be the least inconvenient thing? And Poundcake is looking at it from purely from status. Like, oh, I got fake teeth.
That's what it is, though.
So this is
Anyone
my
can have a spray
status.
Tan. Anyone can have a spray tan. There's certain things you
but
do that's a sign
you didn't
of wealth.
pose the question as which do you want to use to try and front.
But teeth can look better than a spray tan.
But you can also just get tan too. You said a tan.
If, by the way, you have a good dentist and oral surgeon, because there's a lot of people walking around where they spend a lot of money on teeth that just quite don't fit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Gary Busey and them horse teeth. There's a handful of people, you know. They're walking around every time they chew. It sounds like somebody's playing the castanets.
I don't know what a castanet is, but...
Well, if you had got... It would have been hilarious if you got the reference, trust me. On the subject, by the way, we're talking about you guys out there in the sticks and the getting all the farm boys on your algorithm or whatever. I was reading a thing this morning in one of my nerd radio trade magazines that ag workers are very, very heavy radio and podcast listeners. Now, they are primarily talking about AM radio, but we have a lot of people out there in the sticks who are out there working the land, listening to this program. I assume ag workers means agricultural.
Yeah, I think so.
And not people employed in silver mining. But, you know, when I was a kid, they probably still have it. WGN in Chicago, powerhouse AM station. They had the Farm Report. They had a guy on there who had been there he just retired a couple years ago. Orion Samuelson was a guy who did the Farm Report on a Chicago radio station because the outskirts, the signal reached so far, it was a lot of farm guys. And when I was a kid and going to school and my dad would have WGN on, I heard the Farm Report. I'm like, what is this? It was the same guy who read the news that Kennedy had been killed. He was the guy that did the Farm Report. And he'd be like, soybeans and corn. I'm like, you know, I didn't want to hear that, but I didn't want to hear anything else either. I just want a quiet ride to work or to school when I was a kid. I'm like, can I just sit here in my own thoughts and not listen to this dude?
July wheat for the day was down 0.75 cents at 329.5. July corn was up 0.5 cent at 264.25. And in soybeans, the two nearbys were higher. The rest of the months traded lower. July beans up 1.5 cents for the day at 618.75.
That's what I listened to on the way to school was the Farm Report. And so those guys said, and that was a very, very important piece of news and content for those stations. I don't think...
you couldn't ask Alexa back then.
I don't think our friends down at TAM do a farm report, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did, simply because, you know, there's a lot of those AM stations that do it.
And a lot of those AM stations have a large reach. Those things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why once you get out of the city, it's all guys on tractors. And so then, you know.
I've picked up TAM in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
This is.
I think it goes all the way to Chicago.
I caught end of a Browns game 17 years ago in Indianapolis. And I was like, there was one part in front of the hotel that I was staying. If I parked my car there, it came in pretty clear. So I was just sitting there, and people kept knocking, like, sir, are you trying to unload your car or anything? I'm like, no, I'm just listening to the game. Leave me alone.
Get out of my face. So, yeah, we were out on Friday. Dana Carvey's son died.
Yeah, that's super sad.
Dex Carvey, who was only 32, and he was kind of he was an up-and-coming comedian. I don't know how far along he was in his career. He would open some shows for his dad. But all they said was that he died of an accidental drug overdose, which doesn't sound great. I don't think that he overdosed on prescription medication or anything like that. I don't know. But Dana Carvey, who does a show with David Spade, and he said that he's taking a break from everything for now. He's taking a break from work and social media. And he and his wife have 2 sons. I remember in the mid-'90s, Dana Carvey did an HBO stand-up hour. It was called Critics' Choice. And he had just come off Saturday Night Live, so he had a ton of heat. And he was doing a lot of Tom and Dex material. He's talking about his 4-year-old boys. And I have no concept of time. And so I didn't realize how long ago that stand-up hour was. I was like, Jesus, Dex Carvey's that old? He's 32. So that's awful news to get, obviously. But he had, and if you follow Carvey on social media, you probably saw the post. initially it was like, we have terrible, terrible news. Our son Dex is gone, and then they kind of posted a thank you and was like, we're going off the grid for a minute. And I'm not going to be doing anything for a while and not going to be in touch. But he was 32 years old. He opened, if you saw Carvey's Netflix special from a few years ago, I think that's the one that Dex opened for him. And he had, and when your dad's Dana Carvey, you're going to have access to a few things. What do they call them? Nepo babies.
Nepo babies.
And he was in Joe Dirt 2. Probably really pissed he wasn't in Joe Dirt 1. But he wasn't ready. They had to put him in Joe Dirt 2. So,
did you ever watch Joe Dirt 2?
I did.
I never did.
I loved Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt is one of my wife's favorite movies of all time. I've never paid attention to. I think actually we did. I think we did, and it's not very good. But if you watched SNL this weekend, I've kind of been hot and cold with SNL lately, but we did watch this weekend, and Colin Jost was holding up a sign at the Goodnights that said, "We love you, Dana and Paula," which is his wife, been married a long, long time. So they just have one son left. And then Rosalind Carter died. You guys are too young to know who Rosalind Carter was, or at least to be, I
know who she was.
Who was she?
Jimmy Carter's wife.
Yeah.
First lady.
But I mean, you weren't alive when she was the first lady, is what I'm saying. And these two lived, he's still alive. Like, they're both in hospice. I thought he was going to go. Yeah. I thought he'll probably go in the next couple of weeks, right? Isn't that what happens?
Die of a broken heart.
Yeah, really old people. One of them dies.
75 years of marriage, though.
That's a long time.
Oh, good God.
Imagine being married longer than, like, a lot of people are alive. Man. From Georgia. And everybody likes to piss on Jimmy Carter because he wasn't, not one of the great presidents with respect to, international relations. And he had a lot of things that were just bad timing for him during his administration. But you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody more genuinely devoted to public service than Jimmy Carter. They were still living in Plains, Georgia. The dude was instrumental to, what's the thing? Habitat for Humanity, right? Jimmy Carter was a big part of that.
Yeah, he created it.
And you should start something called Habitat for Humanity, Poundcake, where you build houses for people that just need a place to crash for a while, like low-cost housing for people who, they've gotten themselves into some trouble. You can really put your stamp on.
Whorehouse?
Huh?
Whorehouse Incorporated?
Stick with Habitat for Humanity, all right? I already gave it to you on a platter.
Well, that's not good enough, Alan.
It's not. He goes, the whorehouse? What? Yeah, whorehouse?
I'm just saying, if they're hoes.
Habitat for Humanity.
Habitat for Humanity.
Take the win.
All right.
The whorehouse.
Well, I don't want no.
I'm going to call it the whorehouse.
Because what are they going to do there? All these whores living under one roof, like.
Yeah.
That should be a reality show.
Yeah.
Or they're going to be like turning tricks or something in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All these unmarried hoes trying to get their life together.
Yeah. See, you're picking it up. Yeah, but Jimmy Carter he was our 39th president, of course, and he's still alive. And who knows for how much longer. I mean, these two are both in hospice. I thought, about a month ago, they were like, Jimmy Carter, he ain't going to make the week. Man, this guy just keeps living.
What if he lasts 2 more years just to get to 100, and then he, it's 100, he's 100, and then a day, and then.
Despite all of his notable accomplishments, arguably more so post-presidency than during, in spite of all of those accomplishments, I wish nothing more for Jimmy Carter and his family than to hold out so Poundcake isn't disappointed in you.
And he gets his letter from a senator.
Because
he's the president.
I bet he's a former president. Yeah.
We're so happy that you are in the club of the 100 club. Signed whatever senator he probably never heard of. He's like, I was a U.S. president.
You know who the senators are in Georgia. They had that big election a couple years ago.
Ooh, John Ossoff and Warnock.
You got it. He nailed it.
Wow.
Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff. That's right.
I wouldn't have got that.
Yeah, it was front page news for like a year.
I forget things.
Cody knows more about politics than Bill and I. Flat out. Flat out.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
He does.
He didn't even vote.
Look up
But
John
he
Ossoff.
knows
You
it.
know why
But
I know.
he watches, because he
likes
wants to bang
drama.
on me. He likes the drama and.
I don't know if that constitutes as drama. I mean,
There's
it is.
tons of political drama.
Yes, but that's not. He's clearly not paying attention to it.
He knows more than us.
No, I think that he is. I think Cody pays attention, just does it. He's not an active guy. Like, he's not going to go out and do anything about it, but he knows all the details.
I bet he doesn't even know Ohio's senators.
Wait, hold on.
There's one that you think's hot.
One that I think is hot. I don't. He's the one with the eye patch. What's his name?
No.
Why do you know the guys in Georgia and you don't know the guys in Ohio?
I told you.
Because it was front
Wait a
page
minute,
news
which
for a
one does he
year.
think is
It's not
hot?
about drama.
One has the same name as you.
Tim Brown.
Yeah, Tim Brown. He's thinking of Tim Ryan. He ran and didn't.
Sherrod Brown and.
Sherrod Brown.
Come on, you know the other one.
It's not Jim Jordan, is it?
No, it's
He's
not
a
Jim Jordan.
He's this. No, I don't know.
He's in the House. He's not a senator.
Susan. I feel like Marcy Capture or something. Someone spoke at my
It's
graduation.
a dude.
Oh, it's a dude.
He's got
Did
a
you
beard.
call her Marcy Capture?
Captor. Is that's still probably wrong? No, I don't know.
No, it's
I don't remember.
Captor. I thought you called her Capture. J.D. Vance is the
J.D.
other
Vance.
senator.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
in
you
Ohio
have
that you're
on
looking for.
record said that you think he's hot.
Let me look him up again because I don't remember. J.D. Vance.
Uh-huh.
I probably did say he's hot, but I'm revising that. I'm
All right.
revoking that. Yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't know these senators. Sorry.
Okay.
I only knew John Ossoff because look at him. And then, yeah, it was all over TV when it was, like, talked about like a year and a half ago.
Yep, sure was. Al, during our Thanksgiving prep at home, we've been listening to Christmas music, and I will regularly sing the lyrics to Old-Timey Christmas instead of the original. The show infiltrates my life, much to the discontent of my family and friends around me. Anytime I hear General, I will still mentally salute. I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for ruining my life.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, faux shiz, faux shiz.
Oh, yeah,
It's
faux
his,
shiz, faux shiz.
What is that?
Oh, yeah. Faux shiz, faux shiz.
What is that?
It's the actress Michelle Williams reading a passage from Britney Spears'
Okay.
audiobook about Justin Timberlake meeting Genuine and trying to be all street with him back in the day. And it's very cringeworthy, but I love the clip. I'll walk around my own house doing things and just go, oh, yeah, faux shiz, faux shiz. It's just a great little punctuation mark on your own life.
Oh, yeah. Faux shiz, faux shiz.
I also got my daughter, I couldn't believe she hadn't seen it. You know, I mean, my wife's online. My wife sees things that go viral or whatever. Neither one of them had ever heard the Sitting song. And I played it, and now it's all my daughter wants in the car.
Nice.
So the Sitting remix is on a loop in the car on the way to school. I had some work to do in here Friday morning, and so I brought her with me on Friday morning. And the entire way down, we listened to the Sitting song remix, and the entire way back, she wanted to listen to the Sitting song remix. So this thing, and it's my own fault, because it was already kind of out of the viral orbit, and I brought it back into my own life.
Sitting is the opposite of standing. Sitting is the opposite of running around. Sitting is a wonderful thing to do because you sitting.
I mean, the remix is pretty tight.
This
but,
is really good.
Yeah, it is. When you go viral, everybody else will take your stuff and rework it a billion ways.
People say it is bad, but you know that sitting is actually good because you deserve to relax. It's kind of like a nap, it's kind of like something else, but it is actually just sitting. But you deserve to sit sitting.
Anyway, yeah, so that's in the car a lot now.